Hello everyone, Sol Invictus here. Today I'm bringing you quite an interesting battle versus more than competent player that I've been playing I think 3 games with today. So our first game was the exact same matchup. I cut him off guard whatsoever with the build. So he got absolutely crushed. Ended up having 500 loss, 500 killed for him. So we wanted a rematch with the same armies. I accepted, no change, we're done in both armies. So we're gonna go over his build first, then we're gonna go see my Suebi, which is not the usual Suebi that I use. Very different actually, and it's completely different mindset. And this strategy I actually learned from some guy I've been playing with recently. He's a Chinese guy. He beat me with this type of army. I think it was 4 times in a row, which is fucking unheard of. So yeah, I was eager to try the same type of army as he was myself. So me, I used Suebi for that type of army, but him, he was using, it was a desert faction mainly. Also works with Greek faction and definitely works very well with faction like Saba or any Eastern faction. Let's go over my enemy build. There's 3 raiding horsemen, 1 mercenary Thracian, makes a lot of sense versus Suebi. I like the raiding horsemen because of their good melee stats. Relatively good melee stats, actually pretty good melee stats. Decent moral, a lot of health, low armor, okay. So these guys are going to be very useful both at throwing jab and at doing melee damage against Suebi. Obviously due to the fact that my key units have very low ammo, very low armor. The Bloodsworn has 20, the Wolf Warrior has 20. Wooden As are not going to be an option for them, but still low ammo, so Javelin can be deadly to these guys if it's from the back, because keep in mind they have an amazing shield. But yeah, so that's it. Light skirmishing cav, once your jabs are done, are going to be very useful against Bloodsworn and Wolf Warriors for add-on charges. There's going to be 3 slingers, which I don't necessarily agree with when facing Suebi. The reason being is that you have a chance of facing those beautiful Germanic slingers. So Germanic slingers are amazing. They have shield value of 20. And if I'm not mistaken, these only have 15 shield value. So the Germanic slingers are the best slingers in game due to the better shield. And therefore Celtic slingers are not necessarily the right call versus Suebi. But then again, if the opponent has Kimberly Bowwoman, then it will prove to be a good decision. So let me see if I'm recording. Yes, I am indeed recording. Okay. There's going to be 2 Outsworn, very deadly unit. Not my first choice versus Suebi, obviously, due to the fact that a fast charge will destroy them. As a matter of fact, a fast charge will destroy anything, and so might as well go for cheaper tribal warriors and perhaps spend money elsewhere. Even though with Tylis, you can get that awkward moment where you need to spend money on either elite cav or elite infantry. There's no elite spear worth spending your money in. There's no mid-tier cav, so yeah. And there's not a lot of options really for the slingers as well. Celtic Warrior could prove to be useful versus my meat shield units. There's going to be 2 Spear Warriors, probably a counter to Cavalry versus Suebi. Not sure it's the best call, but then again, that counter cav tactic can be very useful. If the Suebi opponent is going for Noble Riders, there's going to be 2 Tribal, amazing armor on these guys, so going to be much more efficient against against the Kimbri than a lot of units. And Levy Freeman, there's no such thing as too many Levy Freemans. Even though in that patch they're a bit less useful. So yeah, we went over our builds. So Kimbri Bowwoman, Wolf Warriors for me, Wooden Ass, Spear Brother, Bloodsworn, very good cavalry. We went for those beautiful Club Levy. They're going to win any meat shield engagement against cheaper units. And the reason being is that they have bonus versus infantry and good armor penetration, 9 armor penetration. If we compare it to the Celtic Warriors, which have no bonus versus infantry and less armor piercing damage. So yeah, very good unit. And if we look at the Levy Freeman, it stands no chance against the Club Levy. So let us go watch the replay. And by the way, I'll show you, yeah, Okay, this guy, Cat Hunter, is the gentleman that uses this type of army, and he's the guy that beaten me 4 times in a row, or even 5. It was absurd and unheard of. I was tripping seeing how good he was using his army. So yeah, that's the guy that created that. So, Suebi rematch Tylis, and that's a match I want to show you guys too. Cool thing with this game is like, so this, you're gonna see the way I deploy it. I've never really used armies in that fashion, so I just started doing that recently, thanks to the guy that showed it to me. And that's a cool thing with Rome too. I mean, the possibilities of builds are endless. If you're wondering if you should buy Rome 2, just do it. Dreams are not meant to be dreams, just do it. You're gonna have hours and hours of fun. It's a bit rough to get into it, honestly, and like to learn everything that has to be learned. You will be playing like a noob in the beginning, but just soldier your way through. So the way this build is going to be deployed is in the following. We're going to have a front line of Kimbri Bowwomen, and keep in mind that you could do that with any factions, really. It's not as much about the faction, but the logic behind the army. So, for example, if you were Eastern, you could have either archers or slingers, probably better off with perhaps 3 slingers, 1 archers in the back, and cataphracts ready to blunt the charges as the enemy starts approaching your center. So the center, as you see, is a lot of grassland, and that's going to be our killing field. So in this battle, it won't be used as much as a killing field, but today I've been using it as a killing field. So once the opponent starts to get in, your Kimbris are going to pull back. You're going to blunt charges with your noble riders. And then you have flexibility and different way of engaging, especially with Suebi with your melee infantry. Your Kimbris are in the back, or any of your archers unit or slingers unit, and they're just going to rain down on units that are being singled out in the middle. And when you get 4 Kimbris firing at 1 unit, it's a GG for that specific unit. So the cool thing, obviously, with Suebi is that you don't have to use it in such a defensive fashion. You can pop your fast charge and actually pressure the flanks. So we'll fast forward this a little. So on our second battle, using the exact same armies, my opponent decided to put the Levy Freeman on his flank, which is going to open up some of his units to frontal charge. For example, having Celtic warriors there covering slingers is not something I would personally do. But I believe it was to win the upper end with the Germanic Scout Riders. But Germanic Scout Riders in this battle are going to be used as a support unit to my bow units. So as you see, whenever his slingers are going to be in range of my Kimbri, I'll do my best to make them pull back with my Scout Riders. Keep in mind, if this was a Greek faction, you can have Tarentine doing the exact same thing. So they're standing in the killing field, support your missile infantry. If God wills it, you'll run out of ammunition at some point with your with your Javcav, and then they can become a blunting unit in the killing zone, which is ultimately even better than having to use your noble swords. Actually, interesting, yeah, there's an endless amount of opportunities and variant with that build. I love it. So whenever it's not favorable, we're gonna pull back. We'll fast forward this a little because it's a long skirmishing phase. But as we all know, a good skirmishing phase equals a healthy, balanced battle most of the time. Unless you get kited by some fucking Parthian triad with Cataphract and Archer's build. So as you'll see here, mistake by him, he's too eager to push, and therefore what's going to happen is that his Celtic Slingers are going to be exposed. So obviously, my Scout Riders, if they connect there, they're dying because of the Noble Horse Archer, Noble Horse. But that's a cool thing when you're fielding Kimbri and very deadly units. I will accept the sacrifice from the Scout Riders. It's going to create a blob in the middle, and then you rain down death with your Kimbri Bowwoman. Especially when it's a juicy target like the Noble Horse, especially when it's a general, you just accept that sacrifice. And we'll be able to pour fire in there. So in order to save his slingers, he will compromise his general. Obviously, very legit armor on those units, and therefore they won't melt, but still it's gonna take a lot from the HP. The engagement is obviously looking good for me. His cavalry is pinned, taking damage, and therefore we're going to use fast charge. And so regardless, the middle is still going to remain a killing zone if unit starts to pour in. One thing I got to be wary of is going to be those raiding horsemen. Fast charge general, which is basically a Thessalian cav there with more army at this point, charging into his general, should be able to get around 6 kill. Fast charge Wodenaz is going to shred those tribal warriors. Wolf warriors do what wolf warrior do best, which is make units rout quickly, especially if they're not a very elite infantry unit. And that's exactly where you want your Wodenaz at this point in the battle. Chasing the slingers, the reason being is that he's going to have meat shield to throw at you, but the Wodenaz is just going to shred through any meat shield so quickly. It's all about going to be those cycle charging with the wolf warrior at this point. And as you see, any unit that will get freed at this point is going to meet the might of the Kimbris. So that's a GG, bye-bye. No replay. Lucky needed. So I give credit to Hunter from Cat Clan for that build. Chinese guy, fucking great player. So the credit is all his. This is not one of my creations, even though I will look to perfection it and at least model it to my playstyle. I just think it's an amazing build. Super cool to use. I invite you guys to try it ASAP. I don't know how many of you guys still play Rome 2, by the way. Like, you watch the video, but do you guys still play a little? Let me know in the comment below. And obviously, I'll leave my Steam link, because I'd like to play with some of you guys. Like, if you're watching those videos, I would enjoy playing with you as well. And also, thanks for the good vibes on the recent videos. I truly appreciate that. So that's a GG. Hopefully I was able to demonstrate how powerful that build was. I will try to get Hunter from Cat Clan to send me some of those replays and see how the creator of that army uses it as well. That could actually be super interesting. Look how deadly the Kimbris are. Oathsorn do not stand a chance at this point. It's going to be nasty. A relatively close battle. I missed a ton of action, by the way, talking about the build, but his general got very unlucky, died charging Kimbris, and that's what I was saying. Cavalry is extremely susceptible to Kimbri, and there was 30 units left, started charging towards a Kimbri, and the general died prior reaching due to the amazing damage of the Kimbri and a relatively fast rate of fire, which I'm not sure how faster than most units it is. It feels fast, that's for sure. And my general's still alive with 13 men in the unit, so definitely got a bit lucky there. But I think luck itself is not what gave me the victory. It's really the principle of the build. So yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed that battle as much as I did and found this kind of army interesting. So he fared a bit better in the second battle there with almost 900 kills. If we look at his troops, so Oathsorn getting kills, it's hard to counter the Oathsorn to the point they do not go above 150 kill, especially when using Suebi. But those kills were not necessarily on useful units, and or so was it. So obviously Club Levy biting the dust, Bloodthorn biting the dust, Spear Brother biting the dust. Sorry about that, probably due to the Oathsorns. Tribal being misused. That's thanks to having a lot of cavalry in the center. So as soon as the push starts, collapse with your cav and then reinforce with whichever unit you wishes. Wodenaz and Wolf Warrior really makes it exciting to decide which fight to take and so on and so forth. And as you can see, yeah, a lot of my units not even having to be used. That's thanks to the Kimbri being put in a good situation. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that one. I will try to bring you Hunter from Cat Clan replay soon. I want you guys to see that. So yeah, thank you very much for listening. Sol Invictus signing off. Take care. Bye.